All right, and welcome to the Braver, Newer, Wilder podcast. We are now at episode 3, still working through some technical difficulties, and we are officially up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. But none of us have actually verified the video, so if anyone happens to go and check that out, hey, we're going to see how that goes. So we're definitely going to be talking about all the crazy shit that happened this week with Rob Reiner and what was a lot of people said about that, what one person specifically said about that, definitely some other stuff in political news. But I have got to start with, sorry, this is a little unexpected for both of you. So we've got our little text thread, right? The three of us. And we throw our ideas back and forth. And the other day we were just kind of finishing up something. And then AI, you just like casually threw in the chat, hey, I started a spreadsheet in the Google Drive, and I want you guys to put together a list of the songs that you think people should know. And then it was like, good night. And I don't know about Chronic over there, but you have no idea what you set off in my fucking world.
You weren't able to sleep, were you?
It was pretty damn close. I was like, what?
And I should have added this. My list, that list I sent you, I've been working on for months. So I didn't mean just fill it out,
Yeah. Well, yeah, Dawn like pretty much had to like tranquilize me that night to get me to sleep. I was like, what? Like no criteria whatsoever?
I think we ended up with
me loose.
The songs you feel the rest of the world needs to know if they don't know. Something, your top songs you want to share with the world.
I have been just trying to keep that perspective in my head the whole time, but I just wanted to let you know that
I messed you up.
you set in motion a string of events that you had no idea about.
So and basically, I was the drug dealer. Hey, want some candy? Follow me. And I didn't give you any. Yes, right.
Pretty much. Yeah. I was right there, and I got some stuff in there, and I started even putting down I even wrote like bands and, artists as they came to mind, not even knowing what song I was going to pick from them, or like, okay, why will I pick this song over that song? And he's like, well, you didn't say I can only pick one song from each artist. And so you can see where the last, 72 hours of my fucking brain have been.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, sorry. And you're welcome. Both, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to get complete on that. Let's make sure. And I'm working on it. Certainly a work in progress. But I mean, also as we get those together, we could even like talk about, because I haven't looked at any of you all's like lists either. Like I purposely have not looked at anything you did, but at a certain point I will, and then we can kind of talk about any overlap or any like surprises and stuff like that. And
cool. Yeah. And the whole point for me is I want you guys to introduce me to stuff I might not be familiar with. So I'm looking forward to seeing your lists.
Real good chance that's going to happen.
Nice.
Right.
All right. Well, Chronic, how are you this evening?
Doing all right.
Sorry,
doing pretty good.
Didn't mean to interrupt your taste test there.
I was going to say, I hope he's as good as that beer looks.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm ingesting it.
So we were definitely thinking, we're talking about the the speech was one of the things that was on our minds, and you are the only one that watched it, but I think you took the bullet because I wasn't fucking watching it. I honestly, it's anymore. I don't even care to watch the events. I really just want to hear the commentary.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really all I kind of wanted to do. And that's really all I got, because apparently if you're watching it online, Fox News cuts you off after you streamed about 5 minutes of it. So that's about how much of it I watched.
Was that just because you don't pay for their service, or is that like a firewall or some shit, paywall or something?
Yeah,
like
I don't
that?
have any. I don't have a TV subscription, so it'd have to be.
Thank you.
You don't have a digital antenna?
No.
Seriously, those are the way to go.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I probably do, but I don't. I just don't watch TV.
No, that's all good. And I just wanted to thank you personally for not giving any money to Fox News or any of their channels.
Well, and I wouldn't, and that's how, the only reason I was looking for a story about from Fox News that was reported about Fox News specifically reporting the fact that prices are going up despite, our assurances that everything's great and prices are coming down. So I was trying to track that down to see if I could find it and make sure that it was, not just made up. And indeed, I did find it. In the course of that, it popped up like, hey, the president is giving a speech here tonight. And I was like, shit. And of course, it was like 15 minutes down the road. So I sat and watched all the lead up to it and stuff, and the commentary of the talking heads, which was terrible. Some white dude and a Karen that was just praising Trump and everything.
Basically, two Karens.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. And, what do you expect? That's what they're going to do. That's all you're going to get. Just like if you'd watched, an NPR or something else, you get what you expect.
Well, in a lot of ways, I think we have, not to kind of get off topic, but we kind of have Ted Turner to blame. He's the one who introduced the world to he introduced America anyway to the 24-hour news cycle. And ever since, like news, sports, everything, they've gone from reporting on what happens to predicting what's going to happen, and now it's so funny because you both know I'm a big fan of Stern. He's been, he just recently renegotiated his contract and all this and that. But there were news outlets like reporting, and he played all the clips, right? Stern's fired, Sirius drops contract, no serious fucking journal, not one iota of like responsible journalism in any of the clips. Because now with social media, you don't have to report on what happened. I can report on what you said, he said, and nobody's responsible for shit.
What's the name of that game where you whisper something to somebody?
The telephone game, yeah.
Telephone game.
Yeah, and we're like 3 million people deep on that.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, I think the IQ levels have skewed and have gone down.
But the one thing that keeps everything centered is everything's Biden's fault. That's what we have to remember. We got to keep that in mind.
That's right.
In this braver, newer world or orderer, yeah, something like that is actually kind of what's true. I mean, not to get too nostalgic, but there was a time where what held us together was the checks and balances of the system that, we built. We knew it wasn't the best, but this was the one we were using, and we were going to at least all pretend the shit worked. But, then some orange maniac came along and started screaming about all the parts that, didn't work and how he was just blatantly ripping off the system. And we're like, well, fuck, here we are.
Well,
now.
There's this duality where everything's the best it's ever been, but it's also terrible because it's Biden's fault. Both seem to exist simultaneously somehow, which I can't quite figure out how that works.
Yeah, so Dawn was talking about that. She had commented similar to that the other day, and for me, it's more of the same, that you can never defeat an argument with logic if that argument was not created with logic, right? And everything about the MAGA movement, I'll just call it, whatever, was created with their feelings. It's literally why their initial step was to lash out at their opponents and call them the most thin-skinned, whiny-ass snowflake. Oh, you just can't take it. Because there's two rules with them in my world. And for me, there's two rules to MAGA world. Number one, the cruelty is the point. The cruelty is the point. And number two, every accusation is a confession. Right?
Definitely number two, for sure.
If I keep those two things in mind as I watch them operate, everything makes perfect sense. So when they initially lashed out that the liberals were like, the whiny, that was a projection of how they were feeling. Right. And now that, Trump's in office and liberals are apparently, some weaponized SWAT team of just assassins now. We're just like every, they're the most dangerous thing ever. Probably because that's how they're feeling right now, and they want to, throw some damage out there into the world.
I guess, yeah, you can see that making sense. They're, kind of both sides are sort of a mirror that's reflecting, like your side sort of attacks its own image in the mirror. It's like a dog barking at something it sees outside, I mean, it's the same image. There's something out there, but they're getting mixed up with their own reflection. They're projecting it.
Yeah, I just think it's just, Psych 101 shit. I don't find it all that deep. I find they're so good at unifying around a slogan. They're so good at unifying around a topic or a cause or one singular issue, right? And they just run with it. I mean, for God's sake, they've been fighting abortion since the 70s, dude. That's when we were born. Like, they have not let it go, and they got into it, and they got involved at the grassroots, and they got the shit done. They got what they wanted. It took them 50 years, but they did it. I think when you get to the more the democratic, liberal, progressive side of the political spectrum, people have broader, more individualistic ideas, actually. So it's harder to unify them around a singular issue. And politically, I tend to find the Democrats inept. That's how it plays out. That's how those actions play out in the political spectrum, where fucking Republicans get shit done, yo. I mean, they plow forward, goddamn the facts, goddamn how you feel about it. Like, they just plow ahead. Something a little envious about that, but in the world
Research,
of results.
science. We don't need no stinking research. We don't need no stinking science.
But imagine what you could do if you had that singularity behind science. Like, right? And it wasn't, a singularity around, let's just imaginary sky daddies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's clearly, both everybody's doing it. Both sides are doing it. Everybody talks shit. When did it start? How did it start? I think you go back to, like you were saying, the 24 news hour, and then now this, and then the mixing in Twitter and X, social media, all this constant, very just, it's shorter and shorter and shorter, smaller and smaller exchanges of information between people. Like, you're not watching the news, you're watching a whole bunch of constant news that's being predictable. And now all of a sudden people can comment on the news themselves. So now you've got, everybody has their own opinion that they have to spread out. And then now with these algorithms and stuff, all of your opinions are kind of funneled into an echo chamber. So all you hear is your own stuff. You never get an argument. And now it's a holiday season, right? Which you're supposed to kind of never talk about religion and politics on the holidays because of the arguments that you get into. Nowadays, you don't ever talk about politics because you just kind of automatically assume it's either somebody that's going to agree with you or somebody that you're going to punch in the face.
I am
There's no talking.
totally with you. I always loved having, heated debates because they never got personal. Now they start personal.
Yeah.
It was nothing. You could, Dave's seen me in a times. So if I had a point to be made,
try like hell to make it.
And I was pretty good too. I did debate in high school and stuff like that. But I've had this discussion, with Dawn several times. Like, I get that I can come on very hard and very heated in those moments. And really, it's like, I want to be proven wrong. Like, tell me something I didn't know. Show me something I didn't know. Right. I tended to be right because I had done a lot of background investigation into the subject we were talking about. I was well versed on whatever I was talking about. And sometimes it felt like I was insulted if the other person didn't. So I get there's a lot of psychology and, shit inside of that too. But yeah, I think that's the difference. Like, we don't look for that common ground. We don't come at it from an ideas point of view. We come at it from a, like, you're wrong to begin with. And yeah, there's like nothing you can say. If a person says there's nothing you're going to say to convince me, like, then what are we talking about? Why am I wasting my breath speaking to you?
On a similar note, my sister does a lot of mental coaching with athletes and sports teams. And one of her sayings is, had you rather win or had you rather be right? And, so let's not worry about being right. Let's just try to win. And by win, I don't mean our side beating your side. I mean the country. I mean, let us all win. You know what I mean?
I think, yeah, and I think there's been a shift in our lifetime. We're in our 50s. Chronic, you in your 40s now? You 40?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 44.
40. Okay, so you're good into your 40s now.
Yeah.
But I think we've seen the shift, and and I think it may, I don't know, I don't know where it started, but I can see it in sports, and now we see it in these other arenas where back then you would rather look bad and win.
Image,
spin, PR, marketing,
Yeah.
everything
Brand.
that kids that grow up, especially kids that are content creators or do anything online, they're born with these skills. They know how to compose shots. They know how to edit video. They know how to tell what they want to tell. That put a word on it. It can be propaganda. Like, you're born with an inherent use of propaganda. That could be fucking dangerous. That just came to me.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. Yeah, it could be very dangerous.
Speaking of dangers, I just got distracted. You guys might be in for a treat tonight. I've told you about my neighbors before, and I hear them right now. They're just talking right now. But give it about another hour or so. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I don't know if I'm going to plan on being on it for an hour, but hey, if it's good stuff, we'll stick around.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you can record audio without anyone's knowledge, right? You just can't record video and audio.
I've heard that to be correct.
Without their knowledge. All right, what were we just talking about there? I think I just got sidetracked.
Yeah. Well, for sure it was something. I should have been taking more notes.
Oh, you're getting a little fuzzy, a little blurry.
Me?
I didn't
some
see
fading?
Yeah.
Nothing here.
Really? Okay.
No, I'm good. Anyway, so we were talking about the speech originally, and like I said, I didn't watch it. So, Chronic, you watched 5 minutes of it, essentially?
No, the 5 minutes leading up to it. Like, that's how long it cut me off. Like literally the countdown, it was like 30 seconds. I was right there. I was like, all right, I'm good to get to see it. There's like,
so you got all the hype and none of the man.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was which I guess kind of added, it was a little more hard. It was harder to take. That I didn't get to see any of it. I just saw the lead up and the pundits talking about it. Yeah, I didn't see anything. And I haven't, a couple of the podcasts that I listened to today for news didn't mention anything about it. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, just anything I saw online, just a few things scrolling through was just basically, dementia-riddled old man lies in front of camera for 20 minutes or whatever, telling the same shit. We're in for this humongous boom, and he's sending checks to the militaries for $1,776. Nice symbolic, bullshit.
Is that all active military personnel?
I don't know. He said some of them already went out, but that also requires Congress, as does whatever we may have going on. Venezuela.
That's going by rules.
Okay, we seized their oil because we said it was our oil and we need to get it back.
Yeah. It was ours to begin with. They took it from us, I believe.
Forgive me if we discussed this last week, but it's interesting that we bomb the little fishing vessels, but yet we can take a big oil tanker hostage. Why can't we take the smaller fishing vessels and give them their time in court?
We also boarded a huge ship and took 20 tons of cocaine off of it without blowing them into the oblivion. So it is possible. It turns out that it is possible, but personally, and I have no evidence to back this up, which, doesn't really matter
That
anymore.
doesn't mean anything these days, yeah.
I feel like Mr. Whiskey Leaks himself, Mr. Drunky Hegseth, I think he gets lit at night and he kind of plays his version of video games and he just bombs fucking boats in the fucking middle of the sea.
Wow. I got a great image, great visual of that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow. Was he jerking off in your head too?
No.
All right.
There's a fuzzy blurb there. There's something going on.
So did you guys watch the last episode of South Park? They did their, what I guess they're calling it their season finale, the birth of the butt baby. No.
Jesus. No. I haven't. No.
And Jesus was involved heavily too.
Really?
Yeah, man. Jesus went MAGA Jesus. He was all wow. he had a guitar and he was playing Ted Nugent licks and he was like, "Fuck your feelings."
Ted Nugent and Kid Rock jamming together.
Yeah, so I don't want to ruin it for you because you're gonna want to watch it.
Oh yeah.
Ted Nugent of the same politics as Kid Rock.
Oh God, Ted Nugent has been.
I mean, I know he's psycho.
I don't think the exact same politics, but they're both Trump supporters and both Republicans.
Yeah,
and that's what I meant.
Yeah, I could pretty much do a whole episode on my opinions of Ted Nugent.
Yeah, he's Yeah, talk about songs that nobody needs to hear.
I couldn't name
Unfortunately,
one.
yeah,
But
no,
I think
he's
if he also was, I'm not going to say pedophile, but I think he like
I remember
married
some
a
issues. Yeah, yeah,
14-year-old
yeah.
girl or some shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
okay, so
yeah, yep, also liked him young.
yeah.
But I mean, a lot of musicians did. Was it Don Henley or uh um was it the dude from the Eagles, Glenn Fry?
All right, so now that we're on this subject, I just
Mm.
have to bring up there's an album from the 70s. Oh my god. And it's something Union Jack, something in the Union Jack. I'm going to have to look it up and probably bring it in next time and edit this shit out. But literally, it's 13 songs of statutory rape. This is like literally, and how it's all her fault for being such a, I couldn't just resist, baby. You were just too hot.
Wow.
So, yeah, I feel, all right, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to see if I can find this.
Well, and
Wow.
it's funny listening back in all those songs, like the blues songs, "Good Morning Little Schoolgirl," you know, and I mean, this is a classic one. People have brought it up for a long time, but it just came up in my rotation. The Christmas song, like, "Baby, It's Cold Outside." I mean, it seems cute and innocent on the face of things, but it's not. It's
Well, tell
dark.
me more about Baby It's Cold Outside. What's the story behind
Well,
it?
I mean, she keeps wanting to leave, kind of,
Right?
and he's like, "Nah, it's cold. You can just stay." And then even at one point, he's like, "Hey, say what's in this drink?" She says that. That's one of the line she says. Yes, to him. And yeah, so it's, I mean, which is like, could be funny if like you're a couple adults or whatever, and stuff. But like now with Bill Cosby and all this stuff out in the open,
I'm
it's
gonna have
like,
to Google. I like the song. I'm gonna have to Google
it's a
it
great
now.
song. It's wonderful. I love it. I was listening to it with Zoe Deschanel singing with Leon Russell, or Leon, I think it was Leon Russell. Great song. I mean, it's beautiful. They sing great, but it's just it's a little. It could be misconstrued as a little creepy
Didn't
or rapey.
SNL do a good parody of it a couple years ago, a few years
Yeah, I
ago?
think they did. I
Like,
learned, and I have some friends in their 20s, so I want to hear like what the younger generation feels about certain things. Not that I'm going to apologize for any of it. I just want to hear what you got to say, right? Um, oh, they were talking about like the all-time greatest comedy movies on something I was listening to, and somebody mentioned Revenge of the Nerds, and apparently that is instantly disqualified by the younger generation because the scene at the end where the nerd puts the mask on that the jock had on and has sex with the cheerleader is a rape scene. Like it's like, oh, I was like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, I guess that and I'm like, it didn't feel like a rape scene when I saw that in 1980, and it totally is. Like, right? Get it. I was like, oh yeah, it is. So that was like one that I get like why they don't, want to watch Blazing Saddles. Like, I understand, like that movie is a one of a kind. It happened. I love it. I get the sensibility of it, and it will never be made again. To the point of the whole MAGA movement, like I said to somebody recently, I was like, I am Gen X to the crust, man. I'm like July of 1972, which is pretty much the bullseye of the entire Gen X. But I feel like too many people from our generation like watched All in the Family and thought Archie Bunker was the hero.
oh, the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. So that you understood the point of the show. He was
no, I
always the
didn't.
butt.
I was neither. I didn't think he was the hero. I thought he was just an ass,
Well,
a racist ass. And
sure.
meanwhile, my grandparents are laughing. I'm like, what am I mean, keep in mind, I'm watching it live. I'm watching it as a 6, 7-year-old live.
Oh yeah, me too, man. You're just a few years older than me, so yeah, we're watching the same shows. This
I
was
just didn't
before
get it.
reruns.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, but
I did hear a good story that Rob Reiner had shared. Somebody had shared about Rob Reiner, and I know we'll talk more about him.
well, let's talk about it.
Evidently,
Yeah, let's talk about
evidently,
it.
Carol O'Connor,
Oh
as you can
yeah.
imagine now, really struggled with the role of Archie. And there was evidently one episode where his character was written especially vile, even more vile than normal. And he delivered one line and broke down. He said, "I don't think I can do this anymore." And evidently, Rob Reiner pulled him aside. How much younger is Rob Reiner? What, 30 years younger? Or maybe more. Anyway, a good bit younger than Carol O'Connor.
Sure.
And here he's the new guy. He's the new actor. He pulled him aside. He's like, "You have to keep going. This satire we're doing is important. We
Mhm.
need to get." And that helped, I guess. Carol O'Connor says, "I get it. Yes, of course, but it just takes a toll on me as a human being."
Understood, and he is a phenomenal actor, and yes, it does not work if he's not willing to go 100%, you're winking at the camera, and it doesn't work. He has to be that straight. Same way Samuel L. Jackson has to be 100% Samuel L. Jackson when he plays his Samuel L. Jackson-esque characters, right? Like, he
I was just
goes.
too young to get it, though, is all.
I don't even know if I got it, but I did get that they were more laughing at him. That they
See,
weren't
that's what I didn't get.
celebrating him.
Right.
Like,
I
I
get it now,
knew
obviously,
that,
but back then,
and
they're laughing at how ridiculous it is. And
the whole point of this show, that was like Norman Lear created it. That's it. He's pointing out the absurdity of the racist and the racism. I remember a specific episode where Archie was in the hospital, right? And there was another patient on the other side of the partition that he wasn't able to see. And they, like, the whole episode was him having this like in-depth, poignant, like heartfelt conversation with this guy. And at the end, the curtain comes back and he finds out the guy's black. And of course he has to like change his whole opinion of how that conversation just went. But as a fan of TVs, movies, and all of it, the 70s is probably my favorite time for cinema in general. I think it was just the most raw, the most honest. Although I think sitcoms peaked in the 80s, just the raw honesty of characters and shows that were so willing to go there.
you'll never beat MASH, period.
That was an event. Like, this was like when you only had like, God, we were sounding like such a fucking bunch of cold curmudgeons tonight.
2 channels, maybe 3.
Seriously, like we had three. And then if you went to the UHF or whatever, you could get like 22 and 53 in my area, which was like, and then you always had like PBS, whatever. But yeah, the TV there was shit that was like an event. And if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. Like, that's it. There was no going back, right? So yes, the end of MASH in general, like one of the greatest shows ever created. And the final episode, just fucking masterpiece. Okay, so we were talking about Carl Reiner.
Right.
Rob Reiner. Wow.
Rob Reiner.
Sorry, wow, I just squirreled twice. So yes, I will say this, like I put in our chat that morning, when he died, I was like, sounds, like one of them guys, like, and it points out like the climate that we're in, that a very well-known Hollywood personality with, some strong political points of view, it had to have been political. That's just the first thing that went through my head.
And the thing with the quote that I'm sure we'll share from our elected president says something, I don't have it in front of me, but he says something to the effect of, "My understanding, this is because of how vile he was towards me." And basically, it almost sounds as though the president sent someone to kill him, like have at him. You could interpret it that way. Like he had some inside information.
You want me? I've got it up here if you want to read it.
Yeah.
It's just vulgar. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. That is fucking putrid.
Yeah. I was, at least as hard as that was to see, I was at least somewhat enheartened to see some Republican leaders speak out against him. Like, nah, this ain't gonna fly, dude.
And Republican people in general, like this was the final
Yeah.
straw, like people breaking away. And I'm happy to see that happen for them. I hate that
Yes.
it had to get this far, or that Rob
Yes.
Reiner and his wife had to lose their lives to
Of
make
course.
this point, whatever. But yeah, it goes to the point that I brought up last week. It's, what was the unspoken agreement, right? And it was all about he was going to be their vile mouthpiece to say all the things that they wanted him to say against the people that they didn't like, and blah blah blah. And then in exchange, he got their vote, and that's done. There is no agreement now. He's burning bridges. He's fucking people left and right. He doesn't care who loses health care. He doesn't care who dies. Like, he's on to the next thing. Like that to me, that agreement has happened. It's over, and now they're left with the mess.
And mainly he got elected and could avoid prison. So once that happened, then he knew he was good.
But he didn't. The thing for me to get is like, he got their vote and they got what they got, but he still always lies. He's always about him, and there's no reason or expectation that any part of that agreement meant that he was going to keep his word about anything he said while he was campaigning. I guess that was kind of the part that I left out before. Like, there was, who he was. Like, you've told me, I don't care if he's a liar. I don't care if he's this. So don't be surprised that he's exactly who the fuck you knew him to be. Like, as the meme online is like, I can't believe the cheetah ate my face, says the people who voted for the cheetahs eating faces party.
It's I just saw today.
Take all the time you need with that one, Chronic.
It's a little cheetah. No, it's a little one. It's not a big one. It's a little cheetah.
This is going to take a while.
Are you having a flashback?
It's not for this episode.
Wow.
Oh. No, yeah. No, little cheetahs eating faces off. Good stuff.
So
go
ahead.
ahead.
Wow. I think I'm gonna have to play around with that new. I paid for a month of that software. I think I sent it to AI there, so I might have to try to create a little tiny cheetahs just eating faces and one nibble at a time. Like the most adorable natural murder ever. All right, I'm gonna pull up my guide sheet. So anything else, like, for either one of you around the whole Rob Reiner thing?
It just made me think a little bit more. Obviously, the son had some addiction issues.
Yeah.
And it made me think about a friend of the family. My parents and his parents were like best friends, and they had him later in life. So he was probably 15. And I do say was. He was 15 or 20 years younger than me, had major addiction issues, knowingly. Parents paid many times for rehab. It just didn't work. He would break into their home and steal from them and stuff. And I can tell you, he died of an overdose, accidental by most accounts. But I can just tell you that they were close to suffering the same tragedy that Rob Reiner did. I mean,
yeah,
close.
It gets to that point. Like, you're not dealing with the person.
Desperation.
You're dealing with the addiction. You're not dealing
Yeah.
with a rational human being who's in their right mind and you can communicate with. So at a certain point, yeah, you have to protect yourself. And I get it. Yeah, I think we've all seen the different faces of addiction. So that'll be a topic for a later episode for sure. But yeah, the kid was troubled. I mean, and he had, by all accounts, the most loving parents that he could possibly have. So, whatever. I think might have read one thing, like there was, like, they were having an argument, or they had an argument before this, like something triggered him recently, but still,
My sister earlier said that they had recently told him he was cut off, but I don't know if she knows that for sure or not. I don't know if she heard it or read it.
Was he an opiate addict? I mean, was he addicted to opioid? What was his drug of choice? Do we know? I don't know much about. I just know that you all texted me that Rob and his wife had passed away. So I didn't know much more than that.
The only thing I really read was they had gone as a family to a Christmas party the night before, and the son evidently made most of the guests at the Christmas party feel very uncomfortable. That was the night before.
Hmm.
So he was obviously on edge for a little while.
Or relapsing, you never know with like that kind of stuff. It did seem interesting to me that there was no suspect. Like by the pretty early accounts, the way they were writing it up, I was like, well, if they're not doing this, this, and this, they are pretty sure who did this. They've got the person and they're pretty sure. And that happened really early. So it's not like he was trying to get away with any kind of, master crime here. This, an act of rage, an act of passion, an act of the moment. And
Or just desperation, just needing a
desperation with
fix,
addiction.
having
Yeah,
no
with
money.
addictions of present, you just don't know what you're dealing with there. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that part of the story we'll learn as it progresses. But yeah, as to the fucking response by the leader, man, that's I mean, what do you say when the guy reaches a new fucking depth of depravity with every fucking tweet? Like there's no surprise that he made it about him. That's what he does.
No,
That's what he's
all of
always
them are.
done. Yeah,
I'm sure that's what whatever speech he put out last night wasn't any about like economic plans or things, it was, it was yelling at somebody and talking about himself.
What I shared on Facebook, and this was the first share I had about Trump on Facebook that passed. Nobody failed. In other words, nobody came back and apologized for him or anything like that. But what I shared was I'm well past being offended or upset with Trump. He is who he is. It's these 533 likes that he got on the Truth Social. Those are the people that I
sure.
just.
So I mean, I don't know what's your style, because for me, if I was going to do something like that, I would just retweet his fucking shit and be like, "Defend this, motherfuckers!" Like,
That's
I
basically what
want
I
to hear. Like,
did.
I want to hear what you
Yeah,
got. Like, what do you got?
that's basically what I did in a not so much of a you motherfuckers way. It was more.
Maybe that's why I don't get a lot of responses. I don't know. What is it? The personality?
See, I like to come at you with kindness and make you be the asshole. Is what I like to do. That's what I like.
No, I'm so far beyond that at this point. Like, that's when they always do so much prefer the tolerant left. Go eat a dick. Like, I'm so far past that. Like, no, I'm not gonna be tolerant of people who I saw the emails that went around when Obama was president. Like, nope. I saw the flags, the pictures you guys had then. So, nope. You don't get to do that and just automatically turn yourself into the victim.
Yeah, but I do have to remind you, Obama was a piece of shit. He wore that gray suit that one time.
There was that
No,
time he
brown.
wore that tan suit.
Tan
Fucking
suit.
inexcusable. And it just
Can't
it
believe I
goes to
voted for that.
to that whole, that mentality. I saw something where, basically like, all right, I'm gonna go down to the blah 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 with my MAGA hat on, and I'm sure everyone down there will be offended. But and someone commented, so you're intentionally going to instigate a situation, knowing the outcome, and then you're going to paint yourself as the victim. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how much of that do you hear in their speech when you try to have any kind of discussion with people on that side of the aisle?
Well, when he was running for election, a year or two ago, former good friend of mine, good friends of my parents at Lake Lure, had a sign on their boathouse, a big sign on the boathouse. I'm going to paraphrase it. Male, white, hetero, blah, 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 blah. How else can I offend you? I'm like, what the fuck?
Thanks for giving me your pronouns, homie.
I mean, you've done everything you can there to try to offend people.
Right. And then be like, oh, I'm the victim. The minute someone points out, like, yeah, what? What's that all about? Yeah. So there is like someone I have got to give like the ultimate credit to someone who named this particular Facebook page that I follow. The name of the page, because it's long, is Republicans Want to Be Oppressed So Bad It Should Be Classified as S&M.
Yes, you did share that with me.
And at a certain point, it's like the whole "don't tread on me" becomes
Republicans or
please
maggots?
tread on. Well, I don't.
I mean,
Until I hear and like, okay, I'll give credit. I'll play. I'll play that game. I'll give credit to the moderates who are Republicans who are voting for the ACA extensions and anything they can do to save healthcare for their constituents because they're being told by their constituents, hey, what the fuck? Well, I will absolutely give credit to moderates, but there's not a lot of them that I'm hearing right now. There's not a lot of division in the ranks. That woman, Susie Wiles, just did that Vanity Fair article where she dropped the bomb on all of them, and they fucking praised her for it. I was like, that bitch knows where all the bodies are buried. I promise you. Like, did you guys hear about this story?
No, I know nothing about what you just said.
So
I'm drawing
Trump's
big
chief
blank.
of staff is literally like this little white lady who is the more evil Dolores Umbridge from fucking Harry Potter. And she just did this Vanity Fair article where she said Trump has an alcoholic personality, JD Vance is a conspiracy theorist, Hegseth is a fucking lunatic. She like dropped all these shit in Vanity Fair, and they've got the receipts. They have all the fucking tape, right?
And she's still chief of staff? She has
They
not been fired?
thanked her. Like they praised her.
Who's that?
Like the like JD Vance was like, oh, we have misunderstandings, and no, they didn't say boo to that shit. And when I saw that reaction, I was like, God damn, that woman's got the
for
power.
Trump not to fire her immediately means
Now
something.
they did insulate her a little bit to keep her away from like the public, if you will, and like tweeting, but they didn't do shit to her, man. So, that was why she was brought in a while back. Susie Wiles is, I think, her name, but that's why she was brought in, like to be the woman behind, like she like the puppet master. But when
really?
Okay.
So yeah, that was a pretty big story this week that this Vanity Fair article dropped, and she said all this stuff, and they didn't do a thing.
I can't believe that's not bigger news.
Well, there's so much news. Like we're so inundated with everything, and the crazy meter just seems to have to keep going up, 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 up. That, you know, for God's sake, we're supposed to release the Epstein files, I think, tomorrow. So good chance we're going to invade Venezuela tonight.
No. There's got to be another country. We've got to go above and beyond Venezuela. We've technically already invaded them. Technically, we've got to add another country to it.
We're just going to get our oil back that they stole from us a long, long time ago. No, he made that like a comment similar to that because they see you. You make this face like I'm bullshitting you right now. So
yeah, he said that. I heard that
because
How did he explain it?
Because they locked out American companies or something years ago to oil we had the right to buy. I guess we're just going to go steal it now. Chronic, you got anything? You hear anything about that?
Yeah.
Essentially, like, I mean, it was essentially that. I didn't read it verbatim. I heard it off a podcast, but it's generally an unbiased kind of just like there's no, the President's Daily Brief podcast, to be precise, the PDB. But they'd mentioned it, and they said basically just that, and that was it. That's all I'd heard. It was kind of shocking.
He is justifying this because we've now seized all like we stopped the tankers like completely or some shit, like
all unsanctioned.
Did I freeze?
You did, yeah, a little bit. You're back now. But yeah, all unsanctioned, so they can't go anywhere unless they want to play Hegseth's video games. And yeah,
which I hope doesn't happen with a tanker in the Caribbean.
Jesus. Yeah, like what are they? A couple of 100 million gallons?
Easily, yeah. I would imagine.
Just an insane amount of fucking oil that would sink.
Yeah,
it's
supposedly. Venezuela is escorting their ships now, their oil ships, out of their waters. But so far, the only thing that they've done is escort their sanctioned oil ships. They haven't done, which in the U.S. is we've let them.
Okay, so do you know the difference? Can you inform us a little bit about the sanctions or unsanctioned oil tankers and how that works? Because I'm not terribly familiar.
Well, specifically in the case, and this is what I'm assuming, I don't know of any sanctions that have been imposed recently, but specifically of like the Iranian ship or the ship that they we seized, that oil was going from Venezuela to Iran.
So it would be considered any country we currently have sanctions against.
Correct.
So basically any type of economic sanctions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like they can't sell it to Iran, couldn't buy it from Russia. I don't know why they'd sell it to Russia.
They shouldn't.
Right,
Right.
but that's what I'm assuming is,
Can't sell it to China is the big one, right?
if that's,
So-
again, I don't know, but I would assume, I know Iran was sanctioned, but yeah, if that's one of the new sanctions they passed, like, hey, no longer selling oil to China. I don't know who else they're allowed to sell it to. Probably our allies that they're allowed to sell it to. Germany. I think Germany's a big one.
So it makes sense. So any country that we currently have sanctions against, which he could tweet one in a minute if he needed to do anything. So probably 70-80% of the oil.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna go steal oil from Venezuela and
Colombia next.
Yeah, they have oil.
They must. But
we should grab some drugs
next.
while we're there too, because that's a country that actually has some fucking drugs.
That's where the drugs really come from.
Yeah, Venezuela doesn't have any decent drugs.
No, they're like a mule. They're muling it for Colombia.
Yeah.
But no, Trump designated drug cartel in Colombia today a foreign terrorist organization.
Yes. Just today, because I thought I saw one like the other day too. I wonder if he did another.
Maybe it was a few days ago. I thought it was just today, but
so drug cartels are foreign terrorist organizations.
Which again is like, I'm not necessarily like, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Like, I'm not necessarily worried about the drug cartels getting killed, except for like that it's that slippery slope of like just classifying anything as a foreign terrorist organization, and just kind of willy-nilly going in there and just essentially potentially starting wars. It just seems bull in the china shop approach to it.
I hate to tell you there, youngster, but this ain't the first time we've been poking around in South America.
God, no. Yeah. God, no.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've been fucking around with them forever, and it's starting wars, having a reason to say you want to go, like anything. It's I don't know where to go from there, because we're just we're gonna go steal their oil.
Yeah, and it keeps going. It's hilarious how it started as we're stopping a drug war that's killing millions of Americans and is a weapon of mass destruction. That was their original thing, and then next, like we said last time, they pardoned the Honduran president.
Yeah.
Pardoned him. It was convicted of specifically doing what they say Venezuela is doing. Not that Venezuela isn't doing that. And now he's claiming that we're going in there to reclaim land and mineral rights that they stole from us. Like, so it's just constantly shifting and changing stories. Like, which isn't surprising.
I was going to say, let me ask you, does any of that sound new to Mr. Orange Man? Like, because it sounds pretty in line with what Orange Julius Caesar likes to do. So, yeah, I hate that we're casually discussing going to war. Like, it's like, because nobody's willing to say we're at peak crazy yet.
Well, like, because
it keeps that's what I'm saying. Like, crazier,
at least at a certain point, like, you feel like it's crested and you're coming down the back slope, but at no point does any of this feel like that wave is crested.
Yeah, no.
So, and here I always said that the apocalypse was, Reagan, and we've been living in post-apocalyptic times ever since.
Little did you know.
Be careful what you wish for. It's just, all right, I'll back my point up by saying that, keep in mind that the fall of the Roman Empire took 200.
Okay, so you're saying we're just seeing some of it.
I'm saying just the fall part of the Roman Empire that took 250 years.
Right. Well, I mean, with Trump, I think that's kind of their political brand is Reaganomics. So it's still hanging in there. It's still bringing us down.
I'll say, I'll go play devil's advocate and say, I've kind of pointed to this in different discussions with different people. because I've always had Trump as just being like a spotlight. He has just turned the spotlight on who the American people are in general and how awful we are to each other and what we really think about each other and blah, blah, blah. So on a certain level, I always, love the fact that he just said the shit out loud. It's like, thank God, like, because I want my fucking racist like out loud and proud, like, because I want to deal with it. I just want to, I want to know. So, in the grand scheme of it all, does he just like get us to rock bottom quicker?
I don't see any way around
it. Actually like dealing with and acknowledging the rock bottomness of it all and how fucked it all is.
Not him. He's not going to deal with the rock bottom.
No. But does he get us as a society closer to that discussion?
Yes.
I
I see that discussion happening well before the peak of the craziness. I think we're going to, as a society as a whole, not just half of us.
Okay, because like Germany had their moment, and then they had a reckoning though in their country. Like they paid the consequences for the shit that happened there too, for a lot of years, and they instituted laws that made sure that shit didn't happen again. Like, and symbolically they outlawed the Nazi flag. Right, it's against the law to fly the Nazi flag in Germany. Would you like to know what flag the racists in Germany fly instead?
Yeah, I would like to know.
The Confederate one.
The U.S. Confederate flag.
Just so we all know what we're talking about. Yeah, they do.
Well, I mean, we've got some people here who fly the Nazi flag.
Yep. And I mean, I'll go back to my punk days. It's always cool to punch a fucking Nazi. I don't give a fuck.
Absolutely.
It's always cool to punch a Nazi.
Unless there's one of you and a bunch of them.
And then, yeah, whatever.
Then get some of your buddies and punch Nazis together.
So yeah, I mean, maybe, but I'm saying like Germany had that discussion, like after they had their moment, they had a discussion as a people and like, do we really want to be this going forward? And they're like, no. And so they put things in place. So, there's a chance that, this just gets us to the reckoning.
Might get us there quicker. I don't know if it's going to be it.
And I'm not saying that's like as a way to commend or just like justify any of his bullshit. He is an awful, putrid human being, and I can't wait for him to die.
Of course, before they got
anybody
to the
on the right
in
expecting
Germany,
a fucking like, oh, big sorry the day he dies, I'm telling you now, it ain't gonna happen.
But something's going to have to happen before the reckoning. Before it happened in Germany, the Allies forced the civilians to look at the concentration camps to get a good look at it. Something's going to have to happen here. Look at the shit that's going on. Everybody look at it. See what's going on.
Well,
there's going to have to be some sort of spark like that.
It kind of points to how fucked and crazy things are right now, that people can overlook school shooting after school shooting, and people and like Trump have made some pretty vile comments about it, but somebody in Hollywood gets killed. Like, that is our royalty. Remember, in America, Hollywood is our royalty. Celebrity is our fucking kings and queens. That actually moved the needle for him. Rob Reiner's death and the reaction that Trump made moved the needle. Where Sandy Hook, nope. The next one, nope. Like Vegas, nope. Like, fuck it.
But was the needle moved only because of what Trump said?
It occurs that it was like that. So there's a
he's never come out and said anything like that about.
There's a wrestler. There was an article that was going around. There was a wrestler by the name of Mick Foley is his name, and I think he's played a few different wrestling characters over the years.
So
Mankind, I think.
Mankind.
But he cut ties with the WWE because of their association with Trump over Trump's comments about Rob Reiner, and that was a pretty popular story for about a day or two on some of my feeds. Right. And I commended them. I made a, not that it means anything. I made a comment, and I was like, because I've heard him interviewed a couple of times over the years. Man is a genuinely nice, compassionate human being, super intelligent, like just a great fucking guy. Right. And that was just too much. And I was like, okay, good for you for at least having some kind of moral backbone, I actually got a pretty good reaction to a comment I made. Somebody had made a comment like, "Oh God, Trump loses a wrestler as a fan, like big fucking whoop," and I'm like, I commented back. I replied, like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like the WWE is literally the center of the Venn diagram of his goddamn base. Like what? Like you couldn't draw it up any better."
If those guys are peeling away, your foundation is crumbling.
Yeah. Trump loses like wrestling fans and Southern Baptists. Like, right, okay, you've got a problem now. And apparently they do have a fucking problem because there was just another one of those special elections, I think in like Kentucky, and the Democrat won and swung the vote by like 40 percentage points or something crazy. You heard that story too? Yeah. So that's, some of the moderates coming over to the Democratic side on the healthcare issue is them they're currently trying to see what, as they see it, stop the bleeding of the midterms. Because right now they have the midterms as a fucking bloodbath. They know that they're going to get slaughtered.
Is that coming up next November?
Next November, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That'll be that'll be.
So really, we're looking at an acceleration. The way I see it, we're looking at like an acceleration, a crescendo of fucking crazy until those people are sworn in. And I am not 100% sure that we'll even have elections, because if we go to war and he suspends elections,
that's
where it's at in my head right now.
That's more than anything what he was doing, in my humble opinion, and I kind of got this seeded into my head from elsewhere. Like that, that's normalizing armed troops in our cities was why he was sending troops to. It wasn't really necessarily to quell any violence, which we know there wasn't any, or as much as he said, but it was to normalize the presence of troops. Because, like you said, when it comes around, like, oh, it's wartime, we've got to enforce martial law, and now we're going to suspend elections. I thought they was going to do it sooner. I thought it was going to come after in 2020, but and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's not what happens. But
you thought he was going to suspend elections in 2020?
I thought so. I was back in the. I've not been a Trump fan, and let me just be clear, because I feel like right. I mean, we've only been around for a very short amount of time, and we're talking a lot of shit about Trump. Let me be clear. I don't like Trump. I also don't like our government in general. I've always been critical of Obama, and I was a lot more naive when I was young, thinking that the government was there to help me and do good things, and there were good people, and maybe I was more trusting.
There was a time when that was actually true. Go on.
And sure, there could have been, yes, right, yeah. But I've consistently been critical. I feel like I have to be more critical right now, because as we all seen, I think most of us can see, it's just more obvious now. It's blatantly out there. But so anyway, yeah, I just want to be sure, like talking a lot of shit, but I'm just critical of the government in general and what they're trying to do here. And yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if, like you said, if when it comes down to it, that's what they're trying to do, is normalize troops in the city, so that when it comes back around to them, and that's why I thought he was going to do that. And when the first time he got elected, I was like naively thinking, this guy is going to come in and he's not going to want to relinquish power when he leaves. And he's going to, and he almost, they kind of tried. It wasn't quite as drastic as I thought, but I think this time will be the big shebang.
The January 6th insurrection wasn't drastic enough for you? You watch too much Game of Thrones, Joe.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Dragons.
Yeah,
it was a peaceful protest, Wagaman.
Yeah, right. Just some tourists. No, dude, I've never been a sycophant. And honestly, for most of my life, I voted pretty like 50-50 Dem Republican, because I appreciated the balance back when we had discussions about ideas and we didn't just smear people's personalities and, character flaws or anything like that. So I'm totally with you. I will say I have a problem with people who go out of their way to try to make it happens on both sides argument. I'm like, okay, it doesn't anymore. This is not equal anymore. It tends to go to my point that this country is in general so far to the right, just in general. And the people on the right are so used to having the conversation on their terms, in their language, and their way that anything that doesn't go that way is fucking oppression. It's, I've always said, look, the minute fucking white people get uncomfortable, the conversation's over.
And they can't handle losing a conversation. If they see they're losing the conversation, now they're ready for physical violence if they lose the conversation.
Absolutely. No, like we were talking about before, I've always had, used to love having heated exchanges of ideas before they became personal. But, now you start with maggot and libtard. That's like, okay, choose your sides. Like, we're playing Stratego or something. We're playing Risk. Get your fucking pieces out, and nobody's willing to budge because you're this and I'm this and blah, 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 blah. If either of you are looking for any kind of alternative to this, this type of discussion, there is an organization that I officially belong to, but I've never really done anything with. I just get their emails and I think I pay them like $5 every 3 months or some shit. But their concept is wonderful. I do love the concept. They're called Braver Angels. Okay. And they bring people together. They call them like people, red people and blue people, right? And they have discussions and they host events and things, but they're structured and they have rules. And you're like never allowed to like say like negative shit about anybody on the side. Like they have conversations, they have like podcasts, they go on radios, they go on trips, they do different things, but they have structured conversations with people who believe, both ways. So it's there is
Send
an
us more
alternative.
information on that if you would, please.
I can do that. Yep.
Yeah.
I saw one of their emails come through the other day. But yeah, I know they have, and it's like one of those deals where they have chapters, like they have like a Charlotte chapter, they probably have like a Raleigh, blah blah blah. And then you just kind of get together and then they do events. So I feel like if I'm being 100% honest, excuse me, let me get a drink of water. Talk amongst yourselves, please.
While you're doing that, I don't know if I mentioned this before. I won't say what state, but an uncle of mine was a congressman for 4 terms, I think.
Wow.
Like during Clinton, during Bush, I think a little bit. Anyway, for a long time. And he's been retired for a long time. And I asked him last time I saw him, I said, back in your day, were you guys as nasty with each other as what I see today? And he quickly went, no. He said, we disagreed on policies, but whenever we debated, it was civil. I mean, we were working for the betterment of the country. It wasn't about our side being right versus your side. And I didn't get when it changed, but from the documentaries I've seen, it was right around the time of Newt Gingrich is about when that started to change.
He was the architect of a lot of things that changed the game for sure. He was big, and then who took over after him? Who was the one for Bush? Bald guy. Anyway, say again. Well, there was Cheney, but there was like some other people. So when did that change? Okay. Well, I think when both sides realized that they could get better results, how do I say, like, the stronger the base, they was like strengthening up that base and telling the base what they wanted to hear. Like shoring up. There used to be like what they called like the 3 pillars of the Republican Party. It was like religion, business, and something else, like, right? And
Base, like Megan Trainor.
About that shit.
Yeah. No, sorry.
But no, I think there was like somebody did the math on it, because I know this, just through some shit that I'd read, like back in the 70s, they knew because of like Mad Men and the advertising agency, they were polling the people on like what they felt and how they felt about different things. And in the 1970s, they kind of realized that the country was going a little more liberal socially, for sure, in how they felt about things. So they counteracted it all. They just like slammed it down with like legislation. I mean, for God's sake, Nixon, he handpicked Republican scientists in the 70s to study marijuana with the intention and the directive of telling them, study this and come back with a report telling me that it's fucking vile and that no one should have it. And they came back and they told him to legalize it, and he buried it. And he fucking hated hippies and he hated black people and he didn't want, so a few racist people with the right positions of power can do a lot of damage for a long fucking time, takes a long time to dig out of a hole, and especially in a country that tends to overreact to every situation. Like we always, look, after this MAGA movement, be prepared. We're going to overcorrect to the left. I promise you.
Fuck yeah. Oh, fuck
I
yeah.
promise you. And then they're going to wonder, why doesn't anybody like us anymore? Like, because y'all fucked up again. Like, I am not a sycophant. I am open to new, better ideas. I just want to be happy and not fuck with many people. And
They keep, there was somebody I was listening to, they were talking about the new mayor of New York, the socialist guy. Yeah, Mondani. And which, I mean, like, yeah, I get socialism is communism doesn't work, right? Like I get the failed attempts of state, and stuff. And like they talk about, the youthful generation now just wants everything for free and everything handed to them. And I do think that to a point, I do think that's right. I do think there's a lot of the youth that are entitled and lazy and stuff, like that aren't hardworking. But I think they're missing the point of like, we don't want to redistribute wealth to like I don't want to just go take Elon Musk's millions of dollars and stick it in my pocket. I don't want that. Like, I'm fine working and doing my menial job to get my paycheck. It'd just be nice if like healthcare, basically just healthcare. Like if I could just have a decent set of healthcare, I don't even need retirement or nothing. But like, I don't understand why healthcare for everyone in the country is such a stealing from the rich and giving to the poor issue. I mean, and feeding
Especially
children.
when we've had bailouts of banks, bailouts of automobile industry.
We're about to have a bailout of farmers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which we always bail out. We always bail out farmers. We've been bailing out farmers. The farm subsidies thing, which is necessary. I love it. Support it. Let's keep on bailing them out. I'm hungry. I like eating food. But man, talk about the money that goes into them. And so, and being paid to leave land, plow crops under, leave land empty.
Now, this time around, it's a little bit
different. One was preventable.
This one's a little different.
A preventable one. Yeah. Oh, well, and unfair.
So it was the tariffs that caused China to pull all the contracts.
They're not buying our soybeans now.
To not buy a single soybean. And then cut 9 months later, we love socialism.
Yeah.
So, look, we pretend.
Everyone hates socialism until it benefits you.
Exactly. I was just about to say, we pretend we don't have socialism in this country. We have so much socialism in this country.
Yeah.
Half of which were Republican backed. I mean, initiated.
For sure. Like,
Did
the NFL is a socialist organization, for God's sakes. There's 5 teams that prop that entire organization up. Are you kidding me?
Did you, I don't know if, how can we screen share? You know, what's funny? This popped up in something. You see, the Pew Research did a study about highly religious Americans are less likely to say the government should give more help to people in need.
Yeah.
So, like, which, it's just like the direct correlation in more religious people and which are Republicans generally, and taking away, but then, like I said, they're the same groups that they give it to the big organizations, the people, the things that don't need it, they bail out.
There was a woman that did a little social experiment recently, I think on TikTok, where she went around to different churches and mosques and synagogues and, different religious backgrounds looking for like food or baby formula, shit like that. And like most of the Christian ones, she got denied. I don't know if it was a socially engineered experiment or anything, but I will tell you this, like you can find plenty of studies, psychological, like structured studies that would tell you that the least moral people are the most religious. And
well, you have to put religious in air quotes.
Why? They believe it.
They believe they are. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
They're really religious. They're not.
And you're saying religious. You're not saying Christian. You're saying religious. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Just in general, there's like honestly, atheists came out to be like the most moral people, like when it came to like helping others and being altruistic and things like that. And think about how much of the Christian religions are based in like shame, punishment. Like for God's sakes, you're born being told that you're
Catholics.
You're foul, right? There's something wrong with you because thousands of years ago, a snake did a thing and somebody had to like wait. There was like a murder and you weren't even there, and now you have to pay the price. Like what? That's a lot to put on a fucking child, yo.
It's heavy.
But and that's where they start. Like there's something wrong with you.
The original
Look,
sin.
if your God drowned children in like the first third of your book, don't fucking preach morals to me.
Yeah.
Like you have no moral high ground. Like I have told, believe me, I am so far beyond having religious discussions with my family. I have preachers in my family. I like for real. We've been through it all. And there's even times where they'll be like, well, what if you're wrong? And we're like, what? Like, I love being a smart ass in these moments because I'm like, what if you're wrong? What would you say to God if if you met him? I'm like, I will give him 5 minutes to beg for my forgiveness. It's not the answer they're looking to hear.
No, it's
like,
not.
What? Like, why? Imagine. Like, what is the thing? You drown people, you smite people for not loving you fucking fragile little bitch. And what's this shit about killing dogs with chocolate? Like, what the fuck's that about?
Wow.
That's
I
just
did
cool.
not have that
That's just
coming
wrong.
out on my bingo card.
I got that's a Ricky Gervais joke, to be fair.
Okay.
That's a Ricky Gervais
Okay.
joke because he's the goddamn king of those. Yeah, he kind of does this bit where he goes on and on about the God.
He
like,
loves his animals, man.
What's the deal about making chocolate kill dogs, man? That's just fucking mean.
I can relate because I love it, but it makes me sick. That IBS.
Yeah, feel for it.
Drop some acid, get rid of it.
That's right. LSD, right?
Yeah.
Well, I showed you that one article. We don't have to talk about it now, but like scientists were messing around with LSD and they swapped two atoms, and next thing you know, they might have some brain healing shit. Like, yeah, spoiler teaser alert for upcoming episodes. We are definitely going to talk about drugs. Different drugs, different effects, different experiences, and what they may or may not be good for.
Would you guys be able to have a podcast while you're on something? Or would you not be able to?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm currently on probation, and I don't.
I mean, hypothetically, if you decided one day to experiment with something.
Hypothetically, way down the road, one day maybe. I don't know personally if I'm interested in that. I always think like fucking Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park, they went to the Oscars dressed in drag on LSD. I think that's like peak fucking performance LSD in my world. I will say this: I would have a very hard time probably looking at the screen. That would be
because of your background behind you.
No, just because I think like an LED screen melting in front of my eyes would not be fun. One of my just an anecdote before we wrap up here. I will say one time, many moons ago, who knows when it could have happened, we were doing some mushrooms, right? And this was when I was with Dawn and Julie at the time, right? We were downstairs and Julie was like, I had like this dim lighting going. We had some music going. She was on the couch and she was like probably barely wearing anything and looking all good. And like in my mind, because I'm on mushrooms, like there's like fucking sparkle shits everywhere. Like the whole, it's amazing, right? So I grabbed my iPad because I want to capture this moment, right? And I like get on the floor and I want to like capture this shot like up at her from the couch. I put my iPad up and I look at the iPad and I look at her and the iPad's not tripping balls. So the iPad's not seeing what I'm seeing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, we could take an episode to just talk about different experiences there. And we will.
Did you also have I should save it for that episode, but did you also have an experience with somebody tied to a flagpole or something like that? Or they thought they were, or something like that. Naked. They were
thinking
naked.
of the Christmas Story.
I've tied some people to some things with their permission, but
yeah, nah. Somebody else told me this story.
Wow. You were watching like some demented version of A Christmas Story.
No, there was no tongue stuck to it or anything.
Definitely would have been tongue in my version. All right, fellas. I think we've had about enough for this evening. What do you say?
Sounds good.
It's